Because it's being live streamed. Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you. And so like when I end the meeting, that's it. Maybe make me or Donna the host. Make Robin the host, because that's me. Okay. Okay, thank you, Matt. Take care. Bye. Thank you, Tessa. Okay, apologies, everyone. We had some technical difficulties there, but we are live and we are good to go. So Donna, over to you to start the meeting.
Thank you, Emily. My apologies for not being there in person today. I ran out of time to change locations. It is 4:43 p.m. and I'll call this meeting to order. And I acknowledge with respect that we are on Robinson Huron Treaty territory and that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and known as Bwatting. And Bwatting is the home of Garden River First Nation, Batchewana First Nation, and the historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. Thank you everyone for being here today. Next item on our agenda is the adoption of our minutes. So may I have someone to move and to second the adoption of minutes from our last meeting, which was November 27th. Looking for a couple of hands there. Nairi, thank you, Nairi, and thank you, Andre. Any questions, additions, deletions, changes? Seeing none, all in favor of adoption of those minutes from November 27th? And that is carried. Thank you. Anyone today with a declaration of pecuniary interest on today's agenda? Seeing none, move on to item 5, adoption of our agenda today. Could I have someone to move into second adoption of today's agenda? Thank you, Tobin. Thank you, Nairi. Any questions, any additions, any changes? Seeing none. All in favor of adoption of our agenda today? Thank you very much. That's carried. Emily, item 6, is that an item, refresh my memory, that you're going to have something to say about, or are we moving on to 7?
We're going to start with 6. I'm going to remind everyone about the committee roles and responsibilities, and then we will do the vote.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So I'm going to share my screen here. Right. Can you see my screen?
You can grab that.
I can.
Pull it up. Yeah.
Very good. Everyone can see the screen? Okay, very good. Okay, so welcome to our first committee meeting of the year. I just wanted to refresh everyone because it's been a while since we've all met, and this is, this is year 2. So I just wanted to remind us all of our roles and responsibilities on the ESC, Environmental Sustainability Committee. So this committee was established in 2021 to support collaboration, advanced projects as they relate to the protection and enhancement of the environment. In Sault Ste. Marie specifically, the roles of the committee are to recommend project priorities, assist in the review and implementation of the city's GHG reduction plan, report on the city's progress regarding energy management, assist in formulating and recommending environmental sustainability policies, plans, and practices, reviewing funding applications for the Green Initiatives Fund, supporting local initiatives that promote environmental sustainability, developing a list of priorities for council consideration as part of the budget cycle, and highlighting opportunities for the public to learn about and advocate for climate change mitigation in Sault Ste. Marie. With that being said, per our terms of reference, at the first Environmental Sustainability Committee meeting of every year, a chair and vice chair will be selected by the committee. A reminder of the roles of the chair and the vice chair. The chair will preside over each meeting, ensuring the rules of the procedure are followed by the city's procedure bylaw, which we had clerks come in last year to talk to us about, and I can share that again if needed. The chair also assists the staff resource, myself, in identifying items for the meeting agenda, as well as liaising with other committee members. Now, the vice chair is really there in the absence of the chair, and they'll be, responsible for the convening and conducting of meetings. So Donna was our chair last year, and Mark Britton was our co-chair. How do I stop sharing? I just want, stop share. Very good. So we can see everybody. So we do have a motion here for our chair and vice chair selection. Donna, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
No, now it's time, Emily, for you, as you've said, to we have to make this decision, and then we can proceed along. Thanks.
So anybody interested in being chair? Okay, we have Donna. Anybody else? So we have no one else who's interested in chair. So we do have a resolution. Would you like me to read it, Donna?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, actually, we'll need a mover and a seconder. So anyone moving Donna as chair? Andrew? And a seconder? Andre? Okay, resolved that Donna Hilsinger be appointed as the chair for the 2024 Environmental Sustainability Committee. All those in favor? Okay, that's carried. So is there anyone interested in being vice chair? We do have an email from Mark Britton expressing his interest as vice chair again. Okay, so do I have a mover for Mark? Tori? A seconder, sorry, Nairi. Okay, resolved that Mark Britton be appointed as vice chair for the 2024 Environmental Sustainability Committee. All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, very good. So we're done with that, and it's pretty much over to me, I believe.
Yes.
There's an error actually that I'm noticing in the agenda. There's a resolution for adjournment in item 11. So we've already approved the agenda, but I'm just noticing that now. There's no need for that resolution there. It's been repeated. It's the adjournment is where it should be on item 14, but we do have it again on item 11. Not sure why that is. That's just a admin error. So we will amend the agenda. Can we do that, Donna? Like I think we can.
Yes. The what we'll amend is, are you looking for us? I think we're going to confirm with a mover and seconder that we are approving and for recommendation these priorities for 2024, correct?
No, there's no need for a resolution there. It's simply
okay, perfect.
So we just need to omit the resolution that's there, because that's the resolution for adjournment for item 14. I'm only noticing that now.
I understand now. So there's 11.1, that is our item.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you.
Resolutions, but we've already approved the agenda, so I'm just letting it know on the record. Okay.
Right.
All right. So we are good to go to item 8, unless there's anything you want to add, Donna.
No, nothing to add. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, okay. So moving on to agenda item 8. Let's do a bit of a recap. Last year was a great year for some of the highlights that the committee did. So we had 8 projects that were approved for funding. We had the FH Clerk tree planting project, that's complete. Clean North tree planting, fire services electric non-equipment, the invasive species center, Himalayan balsam pole, the innovation center, Lita trap, that's still in progress. The city's community development and enterprise services department applied for monies to go towards electric vehicle chargers, 2 of them at the civic center. That one's still in progress. Tourism, another department of the city, applied for monies in partnership with Parks Canada and Batchewana First Nation for 8 clear your gear receptacles. They're really neat. You can just put used fishing line in them. So we just got some final approvals for that. So we're hoping to install those in the spring. And then we also had an application come in again from the fire services department for an electric snow blower. So I did a bit of a breakdown here. Thanks for the feedback, Andrew, on that. Just to show the breakdown of the applications last year. So 53% came in from nonprofits and 47% came from city departments. So I'll pause there if there's any questions. Okay,
How much,
sure.
did that exceed the amount that we had?
Yeah, good question. So we get 50K a year, but 2022 was an interesting year for the city because we had an election and the resolution that was created in 2021 to say any leftover monies go towards tree planting on city lands. It ended with the 2022 council that was ended. So we had this little gray area where we actually had a little reserve. So that's why we had more monies, like we're talking 1,400 and change to go towards projects last year. Now, when this new council was elected in 2022, they brought that resolution back at their first council meeting. So we no longer have that reserve. The only way that we'll have a reserve, and we noticed this last year, when all of these applicants come in and they're asking for 10 grand, 5 grand, sometimes they come under and they actually don't need all of that. Prices change. So what we actually allocated them at the time of their project and what was left will fluctuate throughout the course of the year. So, if we had $40,000 of projects, but a post grant came in and they didn't spend it all, we might actually have 45,000 to spend by the end of the year. But anyways, any of that that's remaining goes towards tree planting the following year. We did not have any remaining for 2023 for tree planting at the city.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, I think you must have.
I did, sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just looking at it, but,
Can you
so
pass this?
was the exact amount like 51 for 1115? So we used the exact.
We used it all.
How did that work? Like,
So-
how do you get the exact amount?
So I asked the finance department and they said because of the situation with the extra monies from the 2022 that went into 2023.
Yeah.
They said there will be no monies left over for tree planting. I think there was like around 500. I didn't dig into their reasoning. They just said no. But like I can dig into it some more.
No,
But
I'm
that's
just
what they said.
curious.
No, it wasn't completely down to that extent. Yeah. Wow, the fact that I remembered that's pretty great. Okay. Moving on. Oh, I see there's some stuff in the chat.
Wait, so, sorry, just about the tree planting.
Yeah.
Thing so who's responsible?
So say we have, like this year we have 50K, say there's 5K left in December. What I'll do is finance will email me. They'll say, hey, you have this much money left. I'll email the manager of parks and I'll say, hey, add 5K to your 50K budget for more trees on city lines and pull it from this account.
And do they have like a plan that we can see about how they determine
Where they
trees
put them, we don't have an official plan for where they go.
and usage?
We can.
Just because
It's one of the actions in the GHG reduction plan to have like an urban forest management plan for the municipality. But we currently don't have one. It's more of a, you know, the parks personnel, they see the areas, they have an idea on where they want to put it. Perhaps they have something more formal, but there is no like official planting strategy to my knowledge.
well, yeah, I mean, there's the forestry center and the universities.
Yep. This money is for city lands.
No, yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but like to be informed on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There's quite a few people in.
Who would like to perhaps
Well, I don't know
comment?
how much they'd like to do it, but they certainly have the knowledge. to
Okay.
contribute.
Right.
I would.
Great, no, I'll pass it along. Perhaps we can have the park manager come to one of our meetings.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And then we can invite others who might be interested. in
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, great. Hold on.
Oh, I did actually have one quick, that's very quick, but like, the one thing that I noticed that we don't really get much follow-up. I know there was a note about it in the notes about like I think it'd be really great to see like a picture.
Yeah, so good point. So last year, and we're going to do it again this year, we launched the city's first sustainability report, where we noted in the sustainability report all the projects that applied for funding, and there were pictures in there.
Oh.
But what we're going to do now in our revised application is ask our applicants, what is your strategy? You know, so that perhaps
Or-
organizations around the table here can help promote whatever it is that we're doing. But we do have that annual summary report. Okay. So furthering recap of the ESC from last year, we had 3 priorities that we were focusing on. So we had our city department climate action spotlight. We had community services come in, fire services, public works. We have some outstanding spotlights. So I have reached out to engineering and finance to attend a 2024 meeting, and still waiting for a response, but we'll follow up with them on that. One of our big accomplishments last year, which I'm really happy to see, was the revision of the Green Initiatives Fund application process. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. We had another priority, which was talking about a climate action communication strategy. So this is really an ongoing piece. We don't have like an official document. I'd like one, but you know, just one me. So we're sort of kind of building this plane as we're flying it. We'll talk more about this later, the launch of the city's Green Initiatives Fund video, as well as the hashtag Sustainable SSM, being all grant applicants to use in the promotion of their events on social media. Another priority was the letter to City Council, and for action rather, this letter to City Council and the city's senior management team. Sorry for the acronym there. So we highlighted as a committee the top 3 short-term and long-term environmental sustainability priorities. We received a response from the CAO, and we do plan to follow up with the new CAO once he's had a chance, leaving me to settle in on where does that stand. Donna, anything to add to that?
Yes. So I know we got a response that said, thank you, and we want to, you know, do what we can with this and so on, but I don't think we ever got a letter back. And so that would be something to be asking the Tom Vera for, which is, all right, you said you were going to, you know, take this seriously, and how did you do that? And if we need to write a letter that would combine with inviting him to come to the next meeting that he might be available for. I know he's got a really busy schedule and he's getting oriented and so on. I think that could be a good use of our time to just to get a quick letter in asking for an official, this is what we did.
Okay. Anyone else? Comments, questions about that recap? Thumbs up from Tori. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to keep going through the agenda here, Donna. All right. So really proud of the Community Development Fund refresh. I'm not going to open it up because we're already running a little bit slow here, but the new grant webpage is linked where it says Green Initiatives Fund, and so is the application. And I've been sending it out to interested local groups, community nonprofits, what have you. Lots of interest drummed up. Any questions about that? This is on the city's website. The webpage has been updated with the updated parameters, as well as the application form has been, thank you, Myri, has been updated as well. Okay, so I'm really excited, and perhaps some of you have seen it, to talk about the city's green, to show you the city's Green Initiatives Fund. Why isn't it playing? It was embedded in here. Video. So that was one of the recommendations when we were talking about the communication strategy. I reached out to some of our successful applicants from the past. I'm just going to stop the show here because it's not working. That's okay. I will pull this up on YouTube, and hopefully, Donna and Tori, you'll be able to hear it.
Mental stewardship.
I think that there's actually a way. Did you hear that clip at all, Donna? Yeah. When I was starting to
Yes,
play it?
yes. I've already, as you know, Emily, I've seen it. I don't know if Tori has, but so don't worry about me in terms of the visual.
Yep. I'm just doing it for the record. Okay, so we're sharing it. If you haven't had a chance to see it, I think it turned out pretty good. You might recognize a couple of people in there. Here we go.
The City of Sault Ste. Marie values environmental stewardship and aims to use its resources wisely for a sustainable future for all generations. The Green Initiatives Fund provides financial support for projects that enhance our sustainability and our community's environmental well-being.
Funding applications are open to local nonprofits, grassroots organizations, schools, including schools committees, as well as city departments. Projects or activities that improve environmental sustainability, including greenhouse gas emission reduction, water quality improvement, energy efficiency, active transportation, waste reduction, are all eligible. One of the priorities of the Environmental Sustainability Committee is to encourage community projects in collaboration for the enhancement and protection of the environment in Sault Ste. Marie.
Climate change is the most pressing issue of our time, and we all have a responsibility to reduce our carbon footprint and help make our community more resilient to climate change. Since 2021, our Green Initiatives Fund has awarded over $170,000 in 21 projects so far. Let's see what some of our successful applicants had to say.
We actually applied 2 years in a row. So we applied for 2022 funding year and then again for 2023 on two completely separate projects. In 2023, we were successful in obtaining funds for the Sault Ste. Marie Himalayan Balsam Community Project, which we led in collaboration with a number of community organizations local to Sault Ste. Marie.
So I applied for a hydroponics project here for Harvest Algoma. So my equipment, which is just set up behind me here, was the main portion of what I had asked to for through the Green Initiatives Fund.
The Green Initiatives Fund, the application itself is really straightforward. It's easy to fill out. You can talk about your project really thoroughly. You know, Emily and other great people at the city are there every step of the way to help answer any of your questions.
I hope that other people are encouraged to apply for it and come up with their own projects, because all in all, I had a really great experience with it.
Now that you've heard from some previous applicants, could your project be next? When you're ready to apply, reach out to city staff. We'll be happy to help you with your project and answer any questions you might have. Visit saultestmarie.ca to learn more about the Green Initiatives Fund, and be sure to share any future projects on social media with the hashtag #SustainableSSM. Anyone can make a positive impact on environmental sustainability in our community. All you have to do is take the first step.
Thank you. Now you can all see what I look like without a mask. Okay, so Donna, I'm not sharing my screen anymore, I don't think.
You are not.
Okay, very good.
And
So,
Donna with their hair.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so I want to, oops, I guess I do have to share my screen again. Screen, video, so many steps, eh? Sit through it all again. So I'll just say, you know, like that was a really fun project. It's been shared on the city's social media accounts. It's on the city's YouTube page. It was shared on LinkedIn. It was shared on Instagram and Facebook. And the plan is I'm going to work with the city's comms department to put out something that's called a reel. And more posts as we get closer to each of the quarterly intake closures. It worked well. Like, I've had a lot of interest from organizations, even though I had gone through a list that I created of all the nonprofits. There were more in Sault Ste. Marie. So I'm really, really happy with it. It did its job, and I've actually had other city departments say, because there's other funds that are managed by other city staff, hey, we should do that too. So yay, Environmental Sustainability Committee for paving the way.
Who produced that video?
So we had an individual named Shannon Gold do that video. All of his credits are on the city's YouTube.
And like, so how do you get the funds?
So I have I discovered this last year in September, that there is a small green operating budget for the city. So this was pretty much the first use of it. Yeah.
Because I wonder if like you make like follow up for the next fiscal or whatever, you kind of document, ask the person kind of like just be
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, now that we know that we have this, absolutely. Like, it can all lead into that communication strategy. Good idea. You did a good job, I think. Okay, so Donna, Tori, anything you want to add to that?
Not for me, thanks.
Okay, very good. Okay, so moving along here. So we've talked about what this awesome committee did last year. Let's talk about what the city did now. Okay, so we updated our corporate emissions. Doing that, 18, 19, 21, 2, we also updated it. We did 5 years of analysis over city emissions because COVID really skewed things up. So that's on the city's website, and we will be doing that on an annual basis. So updating our corporate emissions publicly at City Council. That really was the catalyst, if you will, for why we wanted to create that letter, because not enough is being done. We also added a climate impact statement added to council reports. Currently, it's voluntary. One of our priorities in the letter was to make that mandatory. So let's see where that goes. The city partnered with the Innovation Center to host 2 energy incentive information workshops, natural gas, electricity. We worked with some stakeholders for celebrating World Water Day. We did a virtual community presentation. We participated in Science Northern Ontario Youth Climate Action Summit. We talked about the city's portfolio, and we did a climate action activity at the Bush Plain. The city partnered with Sioux Naturalists and the Conservation Authority for the City Nature Challenge. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but it's a global activity, and we're actually doing it again this year. More details to come. It went really well. It's about biodiversity. World Migratory Bird Day. Councillor Gardy and one of his co-councillors brought forward a resolution in 2023 to work towards making Sault Ste. Marie a bird-friendly city for Nature Canada's recommendations. So part of that is to host a Migratory Bird Day event. The city did that in partnership with the Sioux Naturalists, and we'll be working on that application this year to submit. We did Bike to Work Week, so we partnered with the Public Health Unit and the Sioux Cycling Club for a bunch of different activities. We launched our project for the development of a community efficiency financing program was approved by council. So now we're working on the funding application for the design. I'm going through this very quickly, but if anybody has questions, do raise your hand. A lot of this we've talked about before. We got our first electric Zamboni. We got money to do some Cadillac deep energy retrofit audits, which was great. We published our first sustainability report, then went through all 60 actions in the climate plan and said what we had started, what we hadn't, and updated on any progress. This is going to be an annual occurrence, but we're going to lump this in with our corporate emissions update. You partnered with the Algoma District School Board for the Yellowfish Road program. Over 400 students were out on the streets painting yellowfish to raise awareness about stormwater pollution. All city managers and directors attended a sustainable procurement workshop with Biosocials Canada. This is a really great kind of Mythbusters event as we, look for other ways to, improve the sustainability aspects of our procurement processes. Another event was we partnered with the PUC and the Sioux Climate Hub to deliver the Sioux's very first electric vehicle showcase. It was probably one of the coldest October days. I'm all bundled up in there. And it went really well. It really went well, and we're hoping to perhaps expand on that this year. But definitely a good Mythbuster event. We submitted our regulatory reporting to the province for corporate energy and emissions. And we kicked off, after we got the funding, we kicked off that deep energy retrofit project. So this is going to look at developing those carbon emission reduction pathways for our top 6 emitters, looking at a 50% reduction, 80% reduction, and then net zero by 2050. This is really exciting because the last time that we did audits as a municipality was in 2010. And some of the measures that are identified in those audits, not only are the cost estimates for implementation so outdated, but some of the recommendations don't take into consideration carbon. So this is a really great project. Working on it right now. That is due to be completed by the end of June. What's this? Oh yeah, the last thing we did, we had a couple of guest speakers as a committee. We invited city department heads to our climate action leadership meeting. We were lucky to be joined by Gabrielle Kalopos from the Clean Air Partnership and Mike Layton, Chief Sustainability Officer at York University. That presentation was recorded, and yeah, that sort of sums it up. A bit of a busy one last year. Any questions about that? I know a lot of this is repeat, but I wanted to kind of put it all in one place. Okay. All right, so let's move on to agenda item 11. So talking about this year, 2024. So one of the ideas that was brought forward in our discussions about priorities last year was to do a sustainability audit on the city's budget. So I did that this year. And this year, in my time here at the city, was really enlightening to see all of these capital projects that are going to have an impact. All of this is public. This is part of the city's budget process. So we're going to get our first electric vehicle with a charger for transit, some upgrades to transit as well to accommodate that, solar panels on the roof for the transit building, another another electric Zamboni. And we have to replace the roof at the John Roads, but we're looking to fix the roof so that it can accommodate solar panels in the future, as well as really kicking off the EV charging stations for corporate fleet at the city. So that's our kind of capital budget's the key highlights. Questions about that before I go to the next slide?
I had a question. So, a lot of, like, so I don't know what the measures are for your sustainability. So that's like, there's this kind of meant to like understand how you frame your audit.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you kind of looked for things that were headed towards goals of
Yep. Emission
sustainability.
reduction.
But it kind of comes back to a conversation we had like many meetings ago, last year, which is about electric vehicles and their impact on climate change. And we never really did finish the conversation.
Like the life cycle piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, saying that an electric vehicle simply is better, I think has to be really looked at more deeply on a number of measures. Because like if you look at what's required over the next, like, let's say 50 years to switch over like the fleet in Canada, just Canada, to electric vehicles, like the amount of dolomite that's going to be required means we're going to have to cut down like half of the Northern Ontario trees to mine them. So, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but it's also a gross exaggeration to say that electric vehicles are simply better, right? So I just think that we have to, especially as an environmental sustainability committee, like I don't know how we do this exactly, and that's mine to the table might contribute as an obvious, but to simply say that like an electric vehicle upgrade, especially like, you know, a supervisor vehicle, I don't really know what that means with a charger at $175,000. Like to me, I don't know if that means it's one vehicle and one charger that costs $175,000, but that's just like extraordinary cost to me. When there's vehicles like a Toyota Venza that cost like $60,000, which can get like 800 kilometers for a tank of gas.
Yeah, we're talking about like a big truck, like a truck. Like I'm not using the proper language here. So
Okay.
2 points. One is I'd be happy to go over, and Donna, feel free to jump in if you like, but I'd be happy to go over how city senior management develops our capital budget. Like they are required to go through a process. And I can either send an email or, you know, have a discussion with you one-on-one into that. Specifically, this was not like done by a methodology. It was taking a look at the budget and trying to just, you know, pick out what from an operational emission standpoint, specifically, just operation which is what we measure per the required measurements for the methodology that we use for our municipality, which is the one that hundreds of municipalities use across Canada. But your point about the life cycle is definitely a sticking point. And I would like to recommend that either we put this on an agenda item, Donna, to discuss in more detail, and maybe even bring in, you may have some recommendations, like some subject matter experts that can enlighten city staff on that as well.
Yeah, it's a very difficult topic right now, but
Emily, I believe that there was a fleet analysis done a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. And I don't know if there was, I don't recall what was the content of it. I don't know if there was recommendations in there in terms of, you know, how to green your fleet in addition to, you know, the replacement plan or the renewal plan or whatever. So we could maybe include all of those components and bring that forward and have the appropriate people at the table to discuss, how they make those decisions and the idea of the subject matter experts as well. So let's pencil that for an upcoming meeting.
Can I make a suggestion? I was going to wait till the end of the meeting, but I saw, I think there's a need to discuss in section 6, it reviews the terms of reference and the roles and responsibilities section of the terms of reference. So number 3 says assist in formulating and recommending environmental and sustainability policies, plans, and practices, and making recommendations for continuous improvement. So for me, I would like to review that point and see what we want to do as a committee, if we want to, how we want to approach that and expand what we're doing in that area. And that might be a good time to have discussions about, because it's about recommendations, how we're going to come to consensus about making recommendations or recommendations we want to make.
Yeah, I'll have to double check because all city committee leads have been passed by the clerk's department to update our terms of reference.
Okay.
So I'll have to double check to see like the involvement of the actual committee in that.
Okay.
But what we did last year is we looked at our priorities and if you're pointing on that one line,
Yeah.
like that can be like what we can have a discussion.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that we have our priorities, but I'm thinking there might be other ways.
Yeah.
Other ways we might go about achieving that.
Yep. I honestly love the feedback from the committee. I hope I can do that when we do the revision.
But space to talk about it would be fantastic.
Okay.
Can I echo what Andrew was saying about the EV thing? I think there's another component to that we don't consider, but EVs still require roads and they require parking lots and they require storm sewer. So when you look at what the city is, I would say greenwashing. I mean, you have a roof replacement. Okay, you have to replace the roof anyways. What makes it green is the fact that it can accept solar. It's like really stretching it. Like, I think if you'd say it's a roof replacement because it has to be done, okay, that's fair enough. But the fact that we call it part of the money that we spend on green things, I think that's makes the perception is. Also, I believe that a lot of things about the environment and reducing our greenhouse gases don't cost money, they save us money. And it's just that in the planning process. So to me, our role is not to see how much we spend our way out of this problem, but really how we look at the rules and regulation of the planning department, the rules and regulation of the building department, etc., so that the community as a whole say, listen, this is the way we do things now because it's unsustainable. So to me, that role in our committee's role would be just calculated on a money we spend on environmental things, but really on how we can change policies. Right?
Well, we did that, right, Andre? Like we wrote a letter and we spoke to, the green development standard, which is a really good catch-all for a lot of that stuff that you're talking about. Tori?
My comment is unrelated to Andre's point. So if you wanted to follow up on that, I'll just wait.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
We've got about 5 minutes left, so.
Okay, I'll be quick. But Emily, I'm just curious, if you have ideas as, okay, this is great information, right? We have somewhere to go from. What's next with this? Is there sort of a narrative or a story that can be told from this in terms of a report back to city council saying, hey, like, here's what we found, here's where we're starting from. But to like Andre's point, can you bucket it in ways that's like, yeah, there's $0 here spent on active transportation initiatives in the capital budget of 2024. So I'm just curious and keen to help out and think through like what that might look like in terms of how we can use this information to make a case for some further action on the capital budget side of things.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is last year, we had 2 kind of remedial action meetings with the city department heads. We're like, hey, look, this is our emissions. They've gone up 10% corporately. what are we gonna do about it? And so it was kind of poking them along to, hey, we have to do more. And so to see this, you know, despite it not being as all-encompassing or holistic as, you know, some may like, this is a good starting point. So when we have that meeting, and we're going to have it with city staff before the budgeting happens, we being me, I will be asking, okay, now what? Like, it'll be summarizing, this is what we said we were gonna do, this is what we did, how are we going to make this better next year? And the catch-all for the metrics, which I need to help measure our progress, will be in our corporate emissions update. Now, what we see this year will be from 2023. I'm really curious to see what will happen in 2024, because we're now starting to actually budget for some of these types of things. So more to come. Good. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna speed up here because we literally have a few minutes left, and I know everyone's got schedules. So these are just additional pieces that I've pulled out. I have to do my follow-up with every single department on this, but I've already started getting emails about retrofits, which is really exciting to see from city facility managers. I think it was about 1.1 million there. So like, this is high level. Let's see what actually happens. And then also when we do our measurements next year, let's see if there was any impact. Okay, so that's really the purpose of this. So diving into more details about our committee for 2024, and we'll have more time. This was sort of like our refresher, summary of last year, recap. But for 2024, you know, I wanted to talk a little bit about that webinar where we had Gabby and Mike come in at the end of November last year. There are some really good takeaways. Both of them are working on, you know, similar projects that a lot of municipalities and organizations are. I really like what they said about the green development standard being like a good measurement, and you're seeing municipalities who do that, and it can impact things like not just, you know, buildings, but like the bird-friendly city piece and like the greening piece and the active transportation. I'd really like to see something like that. And you know, we just approved the city's community charging infrastructure plan. Talks about green development standards in there. I think it was Mike who said prioritizing addressing systematic changes operationally. So some of these things that we have here are voluntary. So really, you know, that highlight for, you know, making it more embedded in the operations process. Something that was launched that I'm looking into recently was Climate Municipal GHG Calculator by Sustainable Solutions Group. This is a great tool that I could think help with the case for making that climate lens on council reports mandatory and helping staff calculate the estimates for the emissions reduction, not only for capital projects, but policy recommendations as well. So I'm doing more research into that. And then also there was that Climate Action 101 course, which was a free 30-minute online course for council members. You know, something that I want to talk to city staff about is, could we perhaps host that during an ESC meeting? Again, like talking more about that systematic change. For the committee, I really appreciate your support in spreading the word about the fund relaunch. We want to get the word out there. We want to hit those grassroots organizations, those schools. Schools can apply now, school committees. And any events as well as we have our meetings. I'm thinking about maybe making like a reoccurring agenda item where, you know, we kind of do a bit of a round table. Is there anything going on that the city could support, or other community or people on the committee could support that you're working on in your organization? A possible guest speaker. Going fast here, but you've all had this in advance. So I've talked about some of our priorities for this year already. The charging plan was complete. That was like 1.5 years in the making. We've got our corporate EV chargers, solar project at Transit, looking to apply for the second phase of funding for detailed design for the development of a community retrofit program, which is just as convenient as all get out because the Greener Homes Grant, in case you haven't applied, is coming to an end. So if you're looking for a heat pump or something, you may want to apply to the feds. Sustainability report talked about. We have to update our provincially regulated energy conservation and demand management plan. That's due July 1. We're going to wrap up that audit project. and talk about this in more detail, but we're working on developing an in-house software to improve our energy management process that just happens to be pronounced the meal. Happy coincidence. Or Emily, however you like it. City Nature Challenge 2024. I've got a student at Algoma U who's working with me on the bird friendly city certification. Underway, we're planning for the EV Showcase 2, and we're gonna have our corporate directors meeting in June. That's a high level. We'll go into more detail on stuff as it happens. So our next meeting, because the applications for the Green Initiatives Fund are quarterly, our next meeting will be in April, where we will have a nice pile, hopefully, of projects to review. Because we're meeting less regularly this year, I looked to ask if at all possible, circumstances happen, but try to join in person. And this is our meeting schedule, subject to change, of course, but this is it. It's been sent out to all of your calendars. If you can accept the invite, that would be great, because that helps with forum purposes. I know we're over. That was very quick. Does anybody have any questions before we adjourn?
I just, you had mentioned and possibly make a motion.
Yeah.
And kind of possibly are we gonna do that?
A motion for what?
For,
So that motion for item 11 was incorrectly put in there.
no, when I had the call, you said maybe we should make a motion on that.
Oh, if I did say that, I misspoke. I put it down. We're gonna put it on an agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no need for a motion for that. I don't think, hey, Donna? Like, we'll just, do you want to make?
I don't believe so, but we will, Emily and I will work on, you all brought up some important things that we should definitely get our heads into in more depth, and we will work to organize things so that we can have a broader discussion at our next meeting, now that we see the highlights and we see what the plans are, and discuss some of these things, and look for better decision making, or just improved decision making, or whatever, if that's where the discussion ends up going forward.
Great. Okay, so otherwise, Donna, we're on adjournment. So over to you for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Just looking for a mover and a seconder to adjourn our meeting. It looks like I see Andrew's hand there, and Tobin, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you for your time today, everyone. We will see you in April. We don't see you before. Ciao.
Thank you.
Good morning.